Woohoo! Happy Friday, everybody! And we are here with another episode of Everyday Miracles. Miraculous stories from everyday people. And today our guest is Fadia. Suidan, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you for having me here. I am honored to be here, actually. My name is Fadia Swiden, like you mentioned. I am a life mastery consultant, and I also work in healthcare. I've been in healthcare for 14 years now, and I've been a life mastery consultant for 2, although I have been working on personal development for over 20. I always just gravitated to personal development, and when I was forced to make a decision back in 2021 between my career and my life, I that's when fear took over my whole being, and that's when I decided to live from the voice that wants me to move forward, that wants me to actually live, which was a very scary move for me because leaving my career, I didn't have a plan B. I didn't know how I was going to provide for my family. I was a sole provider for my boys. And there was a voice of fear and doubt. And then there was the voice of freedom. So I chose to listen to the part of me that wanted to live this dream. And that's how, through a series of events, I was led to a program that I learned these life skills and gain these tools that I help my clients gain through daily life. And my goal is to help healthcare professionals who are overworked, feel overwhelmed, tap into that part of them that knows what they deserve and just live their most beautiful.
Hey, thanks so much for sharing. So tell us a little bit, what is for you the miracle, right? Because the whole idea is just to stop, right? Our daily routine, our life, because we a lot of times go on the autopilot. So the idea is just to pause and really understand and observe what is around us. Look at the nature, look at the flowers, maybe just sip that coffee or tea and enjoy the taste, enjoy the aroma, right? So just be more present in the here and now moment and also appreciate everything, right? So I'm just bringing the guests so they could share their experiences. What is miracle for you, Fatia?
A miracle for me is just, like you said, living in the present and being aware that things don't have to be perfect in order for miracles to come about. Even in my daily life, like I go to work in my healthcare profession with the energy of a life mastery consultant. So I can look at circumstances that are less than perfect and view them from the perspective of I get to experience this and I get to make it mean whatever I want it to mean. So just having control over your thoughts gives you the gratitude of experiencing these they seem like mishaps, they seem like circumstances, but as long as you don't allow them in, they can be the miracles that get you to the other side and just cause you to live a happier, better life. I don't know if I explained that clear enough.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Thank you. But share something like from your personal experience. Like I'm sure you had some kind of experience in life when something miraculous that you noticed and you really appreciate that in your life.
Okay, so even today, being here on time is a miracle to me because my father lives alone. He is legally blind and I work a full-time job. I do have a big family, but not everybody is always on the same page. So the old me would have been upset with my siblings, blaming everybody else for me running late, just, having all these thoughts of like constriction and like, oh, I can't do this. But the miracle of today was like, I was just enjoying the present. I was able to work my full-time job. I was able to make sure my father had food and was cared for. I was able to be here on time and spread this message. So that's my miracle for today. And every day I feel like we all have miracles if we were just to slow down and not allow the circumstances to have us, but just take those circumstances as they come and just turn them into miracles.
That's exactly how it is. And it just, like I said, shift our focus from problem to solution, right? Absolutely. Because we are so prone to operate from, okay, what is there for me to do today? What, the deadlines to meet at work? What do I have to do? What problems for me to solve, right? And we already charging ourselves up since early morning. But the idea is that let's just shift our energy and let's set the intention to have the beautiful day and things for us to look forward to, rather than just thinking about, oh my gosh, I have so much on my plate, right? And how am I going to manage to actually accomplish it? And for me, I'm also, even though I'm trying to be very mindful, right? But still I catch myself that I'm in that mode of focus time when I'm doing what I'm doing for my business. And I know, like, sometimes my daughter brings me back to like real life.
Yeah.
She could be like, passing by, and we have the cat, and I love our cat. It's like so affectionate, and it's purring, and it's like beautiful. So she would pass by and she's like, oh my gosh, look at him. Look how he like puts his paws. Look at his, ears. And all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what we are missing. We are not noticing things that we should pay attention at and enjoy ourselves. Because when we are just running through life, we don't give ourselves the opportunity to enjoy everything and to really feel that fulfillment and happiness and joy inside of us.
I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. And I feel like our energy is what matters the most, because if you are in that low vibration, you're going to attract more of the same. And in order for you to attract more of what you want, then you got to be that. You got to level up, and you got to just like focus on what you want. Don't do the push energy, try to be in two places at one time, try to tackle, multitask. Just be there, be present, be comfortable being uncomfortable, and things will just start to unfold as long as you're coming from that vision that you set yourself on, and you're just taking those actions.
And thanks. And as you are talking, I'm just thinking to myself, oh my gosh, like we could totally play in the family the game of miracles. Like, let's see who's gonna find the most miracle for the day, right? And when we set this intention, the more we set our intention for something, the more we are gonna see of these things, right? Maybe initially we might not, but the more we focus on that, saying, okay, I'm here to count every blessing. I'm here to count every miracle in my life. So let it be, right? And then we just consciously walking through the day, whatever we are doing. We don't forget to stop by and just like, oh my gosh, let me see, like record in our mind what miraculous really happened. And it's good, like in the evening, just to reflect how the day went, and just to have that gratitude journal or just journaling, because I feel like when we journaling our thoughts or reflect on our emotions, it really helps us out to understand ourselves better and to know which way we are going to and what exactly we want our life to be like.
Yeah, clear direction.
Yes, we have to have that clarity and that clear direction. So anything else that brings you with anything that you would like to share with the audience to lift people up and just to show that miracles are always there?
Miracles are always there. A big miracle that's happening right now is my mom. Like, yes, she did have to, take a brave step, and she traveled overseas. My mom's dream has always been to build a home in her home country, and my family and I are making that happen for her. And although it's like it's, it's not push energy. It's everything is falling into place, but there are sacrifices that are being made. But watching my mom live into that dream is a miracle to me. And when she's sending me pictures of the land coming together, and she's telling me where her office is going to be and where her bedroom is going to be and how we're going to sit outside with the patio, it's beautiful. And it's a miracle seeing a smile on her face maybe 6 months after I had a sibling pass away. So just having my mom learn to live after that type of loss is a miracle.
That's so beautiful. Thanks for the share. And you know what, for me, what it brings, it just like thinking, once we start venturing out, like I always say, the internet is the biggest miracle for me, right? And I'm sure a lot of people could attest. Just thinking about, like, right now we are watching, right? People from all over the world could be watching this podcast that's streaming, and we don't have to be like together at the same place, at the same location, but the internet actually joined us all. And once you start meeting the like-minded people, this is like a miracle, right? Because you realize you're not alone, because in your physical surrounding, there might be just a few people who really having the same values, the same goals. But once you go like the worldwide on the net, right, you're gonna find so many people who have the same goals, who are very like-minded, who think alike, who don't think that you are strange, right? They think that you are just like them. So it's easier to find your tribe. And I think it's so important, because our vibe attract our tribe. And it's so important that we have this miracle of internet that unite people. And people, you could see that people are just forming the communities, and there are so many different groups, so people could actually find what really is interesting for them, and they could join and they could develop their skills, their talents, their interests, and they of course make this partnerships, friendships, and all kind of unions with others. And for me, it's like the most miracle.
Yeah, I love that. Yes, absolutely. Just to be in the presence of like-minded people alone is great. And I feel like, although the internet is a positive thing, I feel like lots of negativity comes from it as well. And it's so important to build a permeable bubble around you to allow the good in and keep the bad out. Not everybody is going to like you. And sometimes people are not going to like you, and they're not going to know why they don't like you. They just don't like you. And that's okay. Because as long as you like you, then you're putting that love energy out there, and you will attract more of what you love.
That's so true. And another point that comes for me is, it's a miracle to be able to express yourself, right? Absolutely. Because a lot of people are so scared to do that. A lot of people don't know how to voice themselves, because we were not raised this way. We were not raised to express ourselves. We were raised to kind of obey the laws, the rules, and everything was around it, right? And a lot of times we don't even know who we are, because this is exactly what we were taught since we were young age, and that's exactly what our parents wanted, or school system, or the government. And I think the biggest, miracle is to be free to express yourself and not be afraid to be judged or not accepted, or just, that somebody would laugh at you. When you feel that miracle, and you know that you are who you are, and you enjoy to be present in your body, in your personality, in your identity, in your essence, I think it's so miraculous. And obviously, when we speak here, we give other people permission. We give other people the example that, hey, it's good to be you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no matter who you are, it's like, just be authentic, be vulnerable, be yourself, and don't be afraid that somebody's gonna say something, because there is no better freedom to be yourself and miraculously experience it.
Absolutely. And I feel like we would be doing the world a disservice to sit here and be somebody else or something else, because we came here to do that one thing. And you can accomplish a million things in the world, But if you don't come and live your purpose, then you're doing yourself and the world a disservice. So it's always important to step into your authenticity and be who you are, whether others think it's weird or not. Just be you. Yeah.
Thank you. And this brings me to the question, Fadia, how did you discover your purpose and how did it happen? Like, what miracle happened that you discovered what you are here to do and that's what you are doing now?
Actually, I worked as a respiratory therapist for 13 years, and I absolutely loved my work. Being a respiratory therapist is one of the most rewarding fields in my mind. I still work as a respiratory therapist, and it was exhausting and tiring, but I felt like I was doing something. I was serving in a way that lots of people can't serve. But it got to the point where I wasn't able to serve like I needed to. I felt depleted on every area in my life, emotionally, physically, mentally. It was mid-COVID, September of 2021. And I was driving into work. And just as I approached the parking structure, I began to feel sick. My stomach was bubbling. My heart was racing. And I thought maybe I just need fresh air. So as soon as I went around the ramp, I threw up all over my scrubs, all over my clothes, thinking, oh my God, now I'm going to be late. So I struggled to get into a parking spot safely. I called my supervisor. She tells me we are very short-staffed, and if I wanted to stay, I could because she had a fresh pair of scrubs for me. That night, I ended up working in a medical unit with 16 critical vented patients that all required my attention. No sooner did I get a report from the previous therapist, they were talking about taking them to MRI and took the patient to MRI and then a CT scan. And then I had to perform something called a terminal wean, which is taking a patient off life support and watching them pass. It was on a patient that I had tried to save for 3 weeks, us, the whole group. It was a young patient, healthy prior to COVID. And I needed to perform this task, which was my least favorite task. I went ahead and I performed that task, but I didn't get to process that loss before I found myself coding 3 patients back to back to back. At the end of my third code, that's when I stood there motionless, feeling numb, knowing that, I tried so hard and I couldn't save anyone. And I was losing my health in the process. That's what pushed me to make that decision of walking away from my career because I was literally walking myself into an autoimmune disease. And that's what led me to the next portion where I was thinking like I did everything I knew how to do. Like I went to school, I got my education. I love what I do. What am I doing wrong? And that's when I decided I need a life coach. And through my life coaching, first I wanted a life coach, and then the people that I reached out to said, you would make an amazing life coach yourself. You could teach others through your experiences. And then I started tapping into that, and I fell in love with the tools and the principles that I can help people gain and shift into the lives that they would absolutely love. And that's how I started.
That's so beautiful. So, but take us back. Did you actually take initially the life coaching and then working with somebody you figure out that this is your passion?
Nope. I actually stepped straight into a life coaching program that was reliable, predictable, repeatable, that helped me gain the tools myself. And I used those same tools and principles in my life. And that's when I seen that I made quantum leaps in my health and my vocation, and I continue to design this living, breathing document called my life.
That's so beautiful. Just so tell us a little bit more, like we know where you were, right? You were depleted emotionally, health-wise, and you were looking for the escape, for something that you could do and at the same time enjoy, right? Because although you did enjoy your job, however, because it required your skills to do something that you don't love necessarily, right? To allow people to depart into a different side of the world. obviously it takes a toll on people. It's very, heavy on the emotions. So you were looking for something that the area where you still could help people, but it's going to be more on the with the pleasant circumstances, right? With the good outcome.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes, absolutely. Actually, when I first, now, like, before I did the life coaching, I would wake up feeling depleted. I would wake up feeling tired, racing throughout the day. Now, when I wake up, I feel alive. I feel on purpose. The first words I utter out of my mouth is thank you, God, for a brand new, never before lived day. I enter my world, my day with that energy because not everybody gets to wake up. And now that I know these tools and principles, I know the difference between knowing them and living by them. And daily, it's an adjustment. And I feel like I live my life on purpose. It's a totally different way of living. It's just you feel like you're the observer. You're not actually living by these circumstances because you could see things going wrong, but still overcome them and enjoy going through them because you're comfortable being uncomfortable. And I guess, I don't know, like, I feel like I'm rambling a little bit, but I feel like the biggest thing that came out of doing these tools and principles is that I still got to, although I get to be a life master consultant, I could still help by being a respiratory therapist, because one of my biggest fears was now I'm not going to be able to liberate a patient off of a ventilator and see as they take their own breath and speak their first words. But within learning these tools and principles, I was back into healthcare doing travel respiratory therapy, and I made the same amount I would have made in 1 year within 13 weeks. And throughout the rest of that year in 2021, that's where I honed in on mastering my tools and principles for life coaching and began to share with the world.
Oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. That brings me to the point that it's so good to work on ourselves, because that's when the miracle happens, right? Because once we realize, what are we here for? Are we here to constantly overwork and be stressed and don't have that peace and feel in anxiety, right? Or we want to have that balanced life, right? I think the most important thing is to get to this kind of work is like to work on yourself. I'm talking about it's just to have that balance, right? When you are not emotionally triggered with anything, whatever day brings to you, you know exactly how to control your emotions. And like you said, being an observer, and you live more consciously, that you know when you have to stop yourself if you're going into the negative emotions, how to recalibrate your energy in order to shift it and to focus on something that gives you more life rather than sucking life out of you, right? So these, like you said, tools and techniques and principles are so important to implement the same way as we implement other things for life, right? Like we know how to cook, how to boil eggs. This is like very similar to that. Once we know how to tackle these issues in our life, it becomes like such a life skills, like you mentioned. We are equipped with the life skills that help us to live more fulfilling, more happy life, and enjoy every moment of it. And for people, let's say if they are watching us, listening to us, and we just invite to ponder upon what exactly is important for you in life right now. What is something that doesn't work, but maybe you just brush it off, you just put it under the rug and try not to face that fear of that this is the area that you really have to work on. Just think about it, right? Because the problem doesn't go away by itself. And the more we ignore it, it's gonna just expand and expand until it's gonna explode. So you don't want to wait for that moment. You want to really think about, like, what exactly do I want from my life? Maybe I want work less and make more, right? So this is something that is also could be done with this kind of work. Or you want to have your relationship, whether you already have the current partner and you want to deepen that relationship because, let's say, you lost that fire, that flame that you used to have. or you are single and gave up on finding that significant other, there is always a chance. So basically, it all depends how many miracles do you want to experience in your life. And it all starts from the questioning ourselves. What do we truly want in our life, right? Because a lot of time we don't even know what we want. We just go through the motions. We take life as it comes, and anything that happens in life, we're just saying, oh, well, it is what it is. But in actuality, it doesn't have to be that way. So that's the beauty of it. And once we realize it, once we consciously start creating something more meaningful, more beautiful, something that really fills our cup, then we start seeing all these beautiful, magical miracles happening. And we understand that this is actually reality. This is not just somebody making up stories. This is not just something from fairy tale. This is like a real life. And we could actually all explore these miracles and experience them and live to the fullest. Anything else you want to add, Fadia, at the end, just to wrap it up?
Yeah, you just brought a very good point up, creating by default and creating by design. And my mentor, Mary Morrissey, says it so perfectly. She says, you don't get to not think, but you do get to choose what you think about and what you create with what you think about. So don't be like most people creating by default. Just create by design, set a clear intention, and take the action steps to live the life that you want to live, to see the miracles you want to see, and to do the things you want to do with this precious life of yours.
That's true. It's so important. So let's just remind ourselves to live in the miracles every day, in every way. Until next time, we'll see you in a week. Have a beautiful, beautiful weekend.